Following his rescue, Randall Thor, the Dragon Reborn, stands bloodied and beaten amidst the chaos of battle. Protected only by a dome woven from sardine, he is surrounded by an army of Shido Aiel. With most of his followers trapped outside the dome and no way of reaching them, he is forced to unleash his deadliest weapon. I told you to make weapons, Taim. Show me just how deadly they are. Disperse the Shido. Break them. As you command. If Taim had been stiff before, he was stone now. Put up my standard where they can see it, Rand commanded. At least that would tell everyone outside who held the camp. Maybe the wise ones and Two Rivers folk would pull back when they saw that. Loyal's ears wriggled uneasily, and Perrin grabbed Rand's arm as Taim walked away. I saw what they do, Rand. It's... With his bloody face and bloody axe, he still sounded disgusted. What would you have me do? Rand demanded. What else can I do? Perrin's hand fell away and he sighed. I do not know. I do not have to like it, though. Grady! Raise the banner of light, Taim called, and the power made his voice boom. On flows of air, Joe Grady lifted the crimson banner out of a surprised O'Brien's hand and raised it all the way through the hole in the top of the dome. Fire burst around it and lightning flashed as brilliant red lifted amid the smoke billowing up from the burning wagons. Rand recognized a number of men in black coats, but he knew only a few names aside from Jers. Dharma and Fedwin and Eben, Jahar and Torville. Of those, only Torville wore the dragon on his collar. Ashaman! Form line of battle! Taim boomed. Black-coated men rushed to place themselves between the barrier and everyone else. All of them except Jer and those watching Aes Sedai. Except for Naysoon, who peered intently at everything, the tower lot had sunk listlessly to their knees, not even looking at the men who had them shielded, and even Naysoon still looked on the point of sicking up. The Saladar group stared coldly at the Ashermen guarding them for the most part, though now and then they turned those icy eyes on Rand. Alana stared only at Rand. His skin was tingled faintly. He realized for him to feel it at that distance, all nine must be embracing Saidar. He hoped they had enough sense not to channel. The stony men facing them held sardine to bursting, and they looked as tense as the warders fingering their swords. Ashaman! Raise the barricade 2 spans! Taim commanded, and the edges of the dome rose all around. Surprised Shido, who had been pushing at what they could not see, stumbled forward. They recovered instantly, the black-veiled mass surging forward, but they had time for only a stride before Taim's next shout. Ashaman! Kill! The front rank of Shido exploded. There was no other way to put it. Cut and sword-clad shapes burst apart in sprays of blood and flesh. Flows of sardine reached through the thick mist, darting from figure to figure in the blink of an eye. And the next row of Shido died, and the next, as though they were running into an enormous meat grinder. Staring at the slaughter, Rand swallowed. Perrin bent over to empty his stomach, and Rand understood fully. Another rank died, Nandera put her hands over her eyes, and Sulin turned her back. The bloody ruins of human beings began to make a wall. No one could stand up to that. Between one blast of death and the next, the Shido in front were suddenly struggling the other way, forcing themselves back into the mass, fighting to get forward. The milling tangle itself began to explode, and then all of them were falling back. No, running! The rain of fire and lightning against the dome faltered. Ashaman! Taim's voice rang out. Rolling ring of earth and fire! Beneath the feet of the Shido nearest the wagons, the ground suddenly erupted in fountains of flame and dirt, hurling men in every direction. While bodies still hung in the air, more gouts of flame roared from the ground and more in an expanding ring all the way around the wagons, pursuing the Shido for 50 paces, 100, 200. There was nothing but panic and death out there now. Spears and bucklers were cast aside. The dome above stood clear except for smoke rising from the burning wagons. Stop! The roar of explosions swallowed Rand's shout as well as it did the men's screams. He wove the flows Taim had used. Stop it, Taim! His voice crashed like thunder over everything. One more ring of eruptions and Tyne called, Ashaman! Rest. For a moment, a deafening silence seemed to fill the air. Rand's ears rang. Then he could hear screams and moans. Wounded heaved among the piles of dead. And beyond them, the Shido ran. The lions sing and the hills take flight. Moon by day, sun by night. Blind woman, deaf man, jackdaw fool. Let the Lord of Chaos rule. Chant from a children's game heard in Great Avalon. The Fourth Age.